I'm already tired.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. Yo, what is going on? I think we're live right now. This is Nicodemus, the king of indies himself, and welcome to episode 12 of the Trophy Life podcast, your premier podcast for all things PlayStation. We've been away for quite a bit because we've had some E3 business to take care of. So definitely apologize for not bringing you this greatness on a regular basis. I know you guys been missing us out there. But yeah, we are back. We are back, and we got a good show for you guys. As you can tell by the title, we got some strong opinions regarding, E3. You know how the show goes. We're gonna speak our honest opinions about things. Each of us don't have the same opinion. We're all grown men. We all have our separate minds, and we encourage you all also to have your own separate minds as well, and sound off in the comments in the chat if you agree or disagree with what we say, respectively, of course. But I want to go ahead and reintroduce our co-host for the show. Let's start with my man, the British Beef.
Good evening, Tick Nation. It's Chris from the UK. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody enjoyed E3 for different reasons. And yeah, looking forward to getting down and having a go chit chat.
All right. My man Kev, the smart one of the group.
Hey everyone, ready to talk some E3? How disappointed we may or may not be in Sony? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, ready to talk E3.
That's what's up. So I haven't talked to you guys in a minute, man. Even in our Skype chat, I haven't really been able to be in there much. What you guys been up to? What games y'all been playing and stuff?
Go on, Kev.
So I got into the beta for Brawlhalla. So I don't know if you've heard of that game.
Yeah, Brawlhalla. Yeah, I know about that game. That's basically like Super Smash Brothers, right?
Yeah, it's like Super Smash Brothers, but with like made up characters. So like none of it really resonates with anything. Like you just don't really care about who you're choosing.
Yeah.
They all have different stats and different moves and stuff like that, and there are drops just like in Super Smash. It's really strange. Like I don't know if I like it or not.
You don't like it. You don't.
Okay.
You do not like it, Kev. I played that game, and it is utter trash booty. It's disgusting.
Like it's really strange because it's like
it's trash booty.
I don't.
It's gone tits up. No, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's really strange, and I feel like they're trying so hard to grab at that Super Smash Brothers nostalgia, but like a lot of that is tied into the characters of Super Smash Brothers from all the different game properties that Nintendo is pulling from, and like there's none of that with this game. So it is pretty much like, why am I playing?
Yeah, sometimes Kev,
like I don't care about any of these characters.
Yeah. Sometimes Kev, in life, if a girl is ugly, just say she's ugly and move on. Okay, so this game is just ugly. Stop looking for the good in it and just move on.
It's really baffling to me that it's still going. But I guess they're internet. Yeah, I think that's the only like big thing I've been playing other than Overwatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it, and I don't think I want to hear of it. It doesn't sound appealing at all.
What you been playing, Chris? What you got going on your plate?
Well, Fame will be happy to hear I finally completed Horizon.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was kind of one of those sort of things where I didn't want to finish it because I didn't kind of want to stop playing it. It's one of those ones. So I'm looking forward to the DLC that's coming. So yeah, that will be that. I've also been playing Wipeout Omega Collection, which is taking me back and making me realize about how crap I am at Wipeout games, and how even though 60 frames per second is impressive, I think my mid-30s brain can't keep up with it. So I immediately am pretty bad with it. But yeah, I've been playing those and they've been good fun.
Boy, you're ahead of me in the game because I still have not touched Horizon, man. Like the PlayStation community, what they really need to do if they were men and women about this, they would literally tar and feather me at this point and expose me. You know what I'm saying? Because Horizon, dog, I have not touched it since the first month or first couple weeks it was out. You know,
Right.
I got to get back into it, man. I'm just busy with other stuff, busy with other obligations.
It's a really good original sci-fi story.
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah,
It's,
I hear. Fame is always bragging about that game. I hear it all the damn time. Fame will send me a text message. Yo, what's going on, bro? Hey, I'm good. You finished that Horizon yet? No. It's game of the year, fam. What you doing with your life? I was like, I'm sorry, man. Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get on it. I promise.
I tell you what, he's right.
You know, a lot of people
real good.
Let me shout out my man Fame. A lot of people, you know, don't like his opinion about things and, you know, quick to call him an Xbox or Xbox fanboy and all this stuff. I'm gonna tell you this. Fame is the most neutral, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he got a preference. Xbox is preference, but aside from that, Fame is like the most neutral, most fairest gamer that I personally know. Like he just wants shit to be fair. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. But yeah, man, you playing anything else?
I played the Capcom Marvel demo as well, which was a lot of fun, but as I would say, completely bananas. But I was expecting it to be, so I was actually quite happy about it. But yeah, it's they've got a couple of characters I have no idea who they are from the from the Capcom side, but still really enjoyable. And I like the fact that Rocket's in it from Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's a win for me, man.
That's a plus right there. Yeah. I don't really like those types of games, but that's cool though.
Yeah, I mean it's cool, man. They've got some good powers for some of them, and it's very much the Capcom kind of style of fighting. So you can basically push down and forward and punch, and you can pretty much do a move with everyone, really. And then you just switch it. You just do the same move on the D-pad and kick, and it's easy to play. It's easy and fun to play. I can imagine people can jump into it pretty easy.
You know, I heard that Dragon Ball Z Fighter about to shit all over Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter. What you gotta say about that? That's why I'm here. That's what the word is on the streets, man. That Dragon Ball Z Fighter about to just demolish Street Fighters,
just
man.
Don't put your M in your name, all right? Your little M logo thing in your name. Get out of here with your Dragon Ball malarkey.
Come on.
I said I don't know anything. I didn't know any big characters from Capcom. I have no idea about Dragon Ball, man. I'm gonna say I'm 3 years too old, 4 years too old for Dragon Ball.
No, you are never too old for Dragon Ball Z.
No. But like, I missed its peak. It was just.
No. You don't understand. You do not understand what I'm saying right now. Dragon Ball Z is timeless. Yes, Dragon Ball Z's peak is now. Dragon Ball's peak was 10 years ago. Dragon Ball's peak will be 10 years from now, sir. It's never too late to get into Dragon Ball Z. Okay,
I'm missing out, man. I think I'm missing
definitely. That Dragon Ball Z Fighter though. That Dragon Ball Z Fighter is about to be the truth though. It
looks crazy.
Yes.
It's a beautiful looking, crazy looking game.
Side note on Dragon Ball Z. Have you been seeing like since Father's Day just happened over the weekend, people have been dragging Goku out for being a deadbeat dad?
Yeah, he is a freaking Goku is a freaking loser when it comes to being a dad, bro. A dad, a husband, he don't care about nothing but himself getting stronger and fighting. He don't care nothing about his family.
Seriously, like you want bad dads and fighting games. Look at Tekken. I mean, that's where it's at. There's 3 generations of bad, 2 generations of bad dads going on in Tekken. Yeah, some bad dads.
I mean, at least Goku don't cheat on like Chi-Chi. Like he is faithful. He don't have no interest in no other girls or anything like that. All he wants to do is fight. So at least he's not a cheater and stuff.
It's just so funny. Like I've been reading these articles just dragging Goku out for being a deadbeat dad. Because like he's either training or he leaves Gohan with Piccolo to train.
Yep.
Or he's dead.
Or he's dead.
He can't do anything.
Or he's dead, and when he's dead, he still don't give a damn. When he's dead, he's having the time of life. All he wants to do, instead of trying to get back quick, is he wants to get stronger. That's all he wants to do when he's dead. He's so selfish. He's selfish. That's why Vegeta's the man. Vegeta's the man in these streets. But yeah, for me, I obviously haven't been playing like too much locally. I did play a few games at E3. We'll get into that in a second. But I played recently Next Machina. I finally got my hands on the full game of that, and I was playing like way late last night. One of the reasons why I'm like real tired, because I was staying up late last night trying to get higher with the score, leaderboards, trying to learn the mechanics of the game. It's so fast paced, man. It's challenging. I see people on Twitter and YouTube and stuff, you know what I'm saying, complaining about how hard this game is and stuff. It's challenging. It definitely is. But man, the thing is, with these types of bullet hell top-down twin-stick shooters that's really fast like this, you have to have like excellent hand and eye coordination. And like this game right here, this type of stuff with just a bunch of stuff flying at you all the time, and you gotta watch the enemies, but also watch the projectiles coming your way. You gotta do so much at once. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm the master at that, but that is my type of game. That's my thing. Like, I do really, really well with those types of games. So I'm playing on like the medium hard difficulty right now. And once I beat it on that, then I'm gonna try the hardest one. But it's kicking my ass. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely challenging, and I'm having a ball with it, man. So that's really the only game I've been playing.
Is it 60 frames per second?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
I'm screwed. I'm absolutely screwed.
Yes, it's 60. Why are you screwed though?
Man, I can't cope with that pace. It's too fast for me. That's why I was happy Destiny was 30.
Come on, you are a peasant, man. You are part of the damn problem. Like and you literally just said you're happy that Destiny is 30 frames per second on the Pro and the Xbox One X. You're happy with that?
Yeah.
You're a console.
My brain doesn't work that fast, man.
No, sorry. Okay, you're part of the problem. No, it does. It doesn't work that fast. Your eyes are meant to see games 60 frames. Get on the level, Chris. Get on the right level here.
I'll try. I'll do my best. Actually, to be fair,
you're actually who Phil Spencer's talking about.
Oh, well, me and Phil are tight.
You're one of the people Phil Spencer's talking about when he said that craziness that people don't care about 60 frames per second. You fit that demographic.
No, me and Phil were chatting about it the other week. Don't you worry about that. So, honestly, I played Doom, and it took me like the first couple of levels to adapt. But once I got there, I was all right. So I'm like a diesel, man. I get up to speed solidly, and then I'm all right. I'm good to go. But it's that first level kills me. So.
That's what's up. So let's move into the E3 talk real quick. I want to say shout out to the chat. Shout out to people who are actually watching the show, giving us a like. We really do appreciate that. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And if you don't agree with what we say, whatever, feel free to hit the dislike button. You know what I'm saying? It's a free country. This is Donald Trump's America, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you just said free country and then Donald Trump's America. I don't know if that's necessarily
I know
with
that. That's a bit of a contradiction, huh? That's a bit of a conundrum.
No, I'm just kidding, but like, yeah.
I'll let you guys screw up your own country. We're doing pretty badly at it. So, you guys have fun.
Yeah.
Theresa May's not doing so hot.
No, man. No, it's not looking good over here.
No.
So, speaking of not looking good, let's talk about E3. Yeah, we the masters of the segue over here, fam. But yeah, E3, I just want to talk about briefly just my experience at E3. A lot of you guys have been paying attention to or you should be paying attention to the Tick podcast. You saw our live streams out there. We did day 1, day 2 together. And then Cal L did Super Pod Shots, I think, twice. And that's the solo show that he does. So we did provide some decent coverage, I think, and gave our impressions of the Microsoft Sony conference as well as Bethesda conferences. So I just want to talk about my experience at E3 in particular, because it was my first time going to E3, and it's been something I've been wanting to do. I just never had the time or actually the capability to go. But I went in there as media because I am press. I am press out here in these streets. So I went in there as media. And it was a good experience overall. It really was. the only problem I had with E3 is it was just way too crowded. It was way too crowded. And I know they let the public in, and I'm not knocking, people's opportunity to attend E3 and stuff like that. But it made it hard for those of us who actually came there to work. Because I think, there's us as gamers, we want to see the newest thing. We get hyped, we get excited. But I went in there as media, and my job was to cover games. Like, I set appointments to meet with people like Focus Home Entertainment, to meet with people like Activision, Konami, things like that. So I set appointments to meet with these devs and stuff. And I mean, it was just crowded getting around. The lines were extremely long to play these games, and you had media and the standard public in the same line. So when it came to those lines and stuff, the media didn't have any special privileges unless you were like, IGNs and, those big time media sites and stuff. They let them cut the line and stuff. But, us, independent sites and stuff, you were having trouble, getting hands on these games and covering a lot of them. So, that was my only thing, man, just trying to work, in the midst of the public's excitement and stuff about playing these games was a bit of a challenge,
Did they not have a press day? Do they not do
no,
that?
No, they didn't. A lot of conferences do. So usually they'll let the press in before the rest of the public. At these other conferences like PAX South and stuff, they'll let the press in 30 minutes to an hour before, to give us a head start on things. But they didn't do that. I kind of swore that they would, but they didn't do that. So, that wasn't really cool with me, just because it got in the way of my work.
It seems like they're going through growing pains in terms of transitioning E3 into a consumer trade show as opposed to a press trade show.
Oh yeah.
What from other people who attended, main complaints that I've heard are the fact that even to queue in to get into the different halls is a pain, even down to security. Security was not good, so that could have been a potential disaster.
Yeah,
like people were saying, some of them didn't even walk through metal detectors or anything like that. And like for an event that size, especially when you're adding 15,000 people on top of that, like that's crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, luckily, we didn't have any issues and stuff like that. Everybody was pretty cordial, nice and stuff like that. I want to get into some of the games I played really quick, because I did get to play some good games. I got to play some games that I did want to play. First and foremost, I did get my hands on Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces. I can attest that Sonic Mania is going to be absolutely amazing. Side-scrolling Sonic is taking it back to that, mixing that old school with the new school levels and things like that. It plays very good. It's much better than that Sonic 4 crap in terms of the way Sonic runs and moves and things like that. So yeah, I'm definitely now hyped for Sonic Mania. And then Sonic Forces is the 3D Sonic, and that was even pretty cool. I only played maybe like 10 minutes of it or so, but even that was pretty cool. And I actually did like Sonic Heroes. That was, I think, the last 3D Sonic that I was actually into. So it reminded me of that a bit. So I'm hoping if it's like that, I'll be definitely on board with that. And both of those games come out this year. So this may be, the year that Sonic brings it back, which is going to be pretty dope. I played a game called... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, do you kiss human girls in it?
They did not have any human girls in the demos. Thank you, Lord. Yes, they did not have any human girls, so we should not have any weird romantic scenes like that occurred in the Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 edition. We should not have any weirdness in these games.
They're saving that for Mario Odyssey.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get to Mario Odyssey in a second, actually. So next I played is a game called Strange Brigade. It was on Xbox. I think it's on all platforms, but I played on Xbox, and it's basically like Uncharted multiplayer with 4-player co-op in a story mode type of setting. That's what it reminded me of. When I first looked at it, I was like, man, this is Uncharted on Xbox. Like the character looked like Indiana Jones. He was moving and like Uncharted, rolling. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. So it has that very Uncharted feel to it, which was pretty cool. It looked fun. I played that twice. I did play, or no, I got to look at a close eyes on look at Mario Odyssey because I was not standing in that line. Let me say this about Mario Odyssey. I was not planning on getting a Switch, you know what I'm saying, anytime soon. Mario Odyssey actually had me come home and ask my wife, can we get a Switch? And yes. Mario Odyssey.
Wow.
Mario Odyssey is the living truth. It is. It's so much variety in that game, man. It basically captivated me. Like I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. And I was like, man, I wish I was somebody right now to cut this line because I would be all over this game right now. So I'm hyped. I'm hyped for Mario Odyssey. And you know what my wife said, yo. I was in Target with her. I'm like, yo, yeah, can we get the Switch? I want to get a Switch for Mario. It comes out in October. And she's like, no, you don't need to get that right now. I was like, why not? May I remind you, kind sir, of how much you spent at E3? I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and shut this conversation down. Cause yeah, she right. I went crazy. I went crazy on that money.
Pulls up
Nick,
the
please
bank
tell me
statement
you
on her phone.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, she won. She won that battle, y'all. She won that hands down. Like she knocked me out one hit kill. It was over. So
please tell me that when you started talking to her, you started the conversation with yo.
I did. I do start most of my conversations with yo. I do. Yeah, I start most of my conversations with yo.
If I went up to my wife and said yo, she'd look at me like, "What the fuck do you want?" She'd be like, "Oh, excuse my French." She would see straight through me. So
yeah. I start most of my conversations with yo. Speaking of yo, this has nothing to do with the word yo. I did play Raiders of the Broken Planet. That was pretty cool. What else I played? I played Metal Gear Survive. It's basically Gears Horde in Metal Gear skin. That's basically all it was. I played the co-op. Didn't get to play single player. They didn't have that available. But just judging off the co-op I played, that's basically what it is. I got hands-on with Ni no Kuni 2. This is another game that I was not planning on getting, but now I'm going to get because I love the art style, the story, and then also I love that it is not turn-based this time. So yeah, I'm hyped for that. I got hands-on with that a good 15 minutes or so. And then I did play several indie games at IndieK. Not going to go into every single one. But one of the highlights for me as far as games go, honestly, was this game called Super Lucky Tales. Super Lucky Tales, you guys may have heard of it. It's the little fox and stuff, and it's a 3D platformer. It's running at 4K 60 frames per second on the Xbox One X, and then also I believe it's a full-on exclusive, make Windows 10 Xbox exclusive, and it's also, I heard it's an indie game. It's made by an independent developer as well. So man, those are a lot of pluses behind this game. I had fun with it. It was definitely, the controls are smooth. The game ran beautifully. It looked beautiful. It was fun. You know what I'm saying? It was a traditional, challenging platformer, something that we don't really get too often. And it's just based on like 10 minutes of me playing the demo. But so far, so good. I'm going to say this. Compared to me playing this demo and playing the Crash Bandicoot Remake Remastered demo, this game shits all over Crash Bandicoot Remake. It just does, because the Crash Bandicoot Remake, those controllers are old, they're stagnant. I don't like them. This game, it's just fresh. It's just beautiful, fresh, fluid movement. It's not confined. It's more open. So this right here is the platformer right here. I'm saying this right now. This is the platformer of 2017, ladies and gentlemen. You can forget Crash and get this game. Just saying.
So wait, going back to Crash for a second.
Yes.
My understanding was that they reworked the controls to fit in a modern day schematic.
Nope.
Are you saying that the controls themselves are stiff, or is it because of updated level design of Crash?
It's because
it is stiff.
Yeah, it's because of the level design of Crash. That's what it is. Okay. It's not that the controls are bad in Crash. I'm being a little dramatic. It's not that the controls are bad in Crash. It's just that it's outdated. You know what I'm saying? It's just outdated at the end of the day. You know, I don't know what improvements they could have made to make it more fluid and fit into the modern day more. It's just outdated. Those controls were outdated. I could not get with it. I could not get jiggy with it. You know what I'm saying? So
But Super Lucky is just a poor man's Conker, is it not? Actually, he's probably a kid's Conker. So, but honestly, man, I like the look of that game. It looks pretty decent. It's not really my cup of tea, but I can understand what you mean by it better than Crash. I would rather get that over Crash, I've got to say.
Definitely. Shout out to Chris Cobra. I did play Vampire as well. I did try that guy backstage hands on in a demo of that as well. That game is going to be absolutely amazing. I love that they have really paid attention to the production of the game, because the game was looking pretty trash a few months ago. But they really have amped it up, and I think that's going to be an excellent game coming from the Focus Home camp. You know what I'm saying? I also got behind the scenes with Days Gone. We didn't get to play it. It was not playable at E3, which is a shame. But I did get behind the scenes with that, and we did get to see the alternate level that you guys are seeing, or the alternate path of that demo that you guys are now seeing on YouTube and stuff like that. We got to see that, and he explained it, went over a lot of things, got a lot of great details on that. I almost was able to get backstage with Spider-Man, but somebody in my Tick family had me late that day. I'm not gonna say anybody's name, but they had me late. They made me miss my damn appointment, so I didn't get to check out Spider-Man. I'm salty. I'm salty about that. But
no quick times for you.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it was we were just on the go constantly, man. But yeah, as far as E3 though, I do want to say this, you know, it was definitely a great experience. Anybody that may want to go next year and all that stuff, I would encourage you to not go, because you need to leave it to the media. No, I'm just playing. Anybody who wants to go, I would encourage you to go. One of the best experiences though, like I said, I wasn't really there to play games. I was really there to work. But one of the best experiences was actually getting to meet a lot of people that you interact with, like on Twitter, YouTube, you know, the YouTube gaming community and stuff. That was like one of the best experiences. I mean, obviously getting to meet, you know, my Tick family, you know, Josh, Too Much Food, Kal-El, and Makaya and stuff was amazing. Getting to hang with those guys, work with them. Every one of them, they are who they are, like you see or hear from them on YouTube and, you know, Twitter and stuff. So they are who they are, the real genuine people. I got to meet Red Infamy. Shout out to Red. She's definitely a wonderful, genuine woman. You know what I'm saying? Really cares about the community, cares about, you know what I'm saying, us as gamers and YouTubers and stuff, gives great advice. Extremely smart. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to debate her, whatever. I was trying to debate her on something. I'm not going to lie, fellas. I'm not going to lie. I got lost in her eyes. I just couldn't debate her. I froze. So, you know, she won that off of beauty alone. I met Hip Hop Gamer. You know what I'm saying? Hip Hop Gamer, if you never heard of him, man, that dude, bruh, this man, Hip Hop Gamer, he's like, has a, like, I don't know, he's excited. He's overly excited all the time, bruh. Like, I love his energy, bro. It's like this man drinks like 10 monsters a minute, bro. His energy is nonstop. His positivity is nonstop. I love this dude, man. He's awesome, bro. I met the Iron Lords. Shout out to them. Shout out to Iron Lords podcast. And then I met my man King Dre. Shout out to him, King Dre. I used to work with him with Hard Night Gamers and stuff. Got to finally meet him, man. It was great. He's a real genuine dude, man. Amazing guy. And then last but not least, I actually got to meet the best bot himself in person. You know what I'm saying? My man, Kid Smooth. I've been working with him for years. Some of you guys remember me with him with the Writer's Block podcast and other things we've done in the past. I got to meet him in real life. And I'm going to say this. You know what I'm saying, about Kid Smooth. I know a lot of people got issues with him and all this stuff because of how he views things and stuff. He's an extreme Xbox guy, but the man is a genuine dude, real cool dude in real life. You know what I'm saying? Real cool guy to hang out with and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. And my thing is, what I want everybody to understand is that we can have these beefs and these issues and stuff and, you know, on YouTube and Twitter and stuff. Just watch what you say to people. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know who you're going to meet in real life. You know what I'm saying? You need to be who you are on here. just how you are in real life. And all these people that I mentioned, they are who they are on here and in real life. There's no differences between the two personalities. They are who they are. So shout out to them for being real. But a lot of these people, you know what I'm saying, you're not real. You're behind the keyboard. You want to talk a lot of trash. And then when you get in real life, you're real docile and timid and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I would just encourage people to be real, man. Be real out here, because you never know who you're going to be in real life. And obviously I was who I am, just like you guys hear me here. I am who I am. A few people did come up to me and they were like, you know, Nicodemus and stuff. They recognized me from the podcast and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So it was all good. All good. Great experience overall. Yes, definitely. But
well, good job repping Trophy Life at E3.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, we was out there, man. I had to represent Trophy Life. I had to represent Tick. You know what I'm saying? I had to represent my fam and stuff. The people that, you know, got me there. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't hear you booing at the Microsoft conference. Where was the booing? Where was the loud booing?
You heard me booing?
No. Where was it? Where was the loud
where
booing?
was the booing? Well, I'm gonna say this for the Microsoft conference, fam, that in the beginning of the Microsoft conference, when they were showing Forza and that car and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, come on, man. I'm like, Microsoft, this is a games conference. Will you please move on from this garbage? And I'm sitting there looking at Cal and the rest of the team, because, you know, they're more Xbox guys than I am. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Oh my God, it's so awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. And I'm like, oh, guys, come on, chill. They're showing a damn car. No one cares about a car. And, you know, but I ain't gonna lie, like, when it got like
but
close,
by the end, he was repping the M.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, let me plead my case, man, because we're gonna get into Sony's conference real quick too. But let me plead my case. When I got like towards the middle of Microsoft conference, it was before the middle. It was like close to the middle. But when I got to that point, I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen, man. Like they were showing game after game. You not only game after game, but unique game after game. Like the type of games that I like. They did display a lot of indie games in their conference, which I thoroughly enjoy. A lot of unique indie games that showed the indie montage and stuff that Sony hates now. But they were doing a lot of things right in this conference, man. And Phil went to Japan. Like we were stating in the Tick podcast, he went to Japan for a reason, and he did bring back some, you know, unique titles, some Japanese titles, and was able to present them on Microsoft stage, which was huge. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, by the end of the conference, you know, I weighed my options. I checked out the Sony conference, and I made a decision.
My options.
Yeah, I made a decision to give Microsoft their props and their respect, because their conference was the better conference in my opinion. And I put the Scorpio M in my name for a little over 24 hours as a token of respect from the king of indies himself to Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I definitely felt like they won the conference, but I want to get into Sony's conference. I want to get you guys opinions and thoughts on Sony's conference and stuff like that. So anybody can go. I've talked enough. I'll give mine at the end. But what do y'all think about Sony's conference? You know, like the pros, the cons. Let us know.
Go on, Kev.
I guess I'll start off. I think ultimately it was really lackluster. But to that token, I attribute that to most of the conferences at E3. I think the only two that were not just like very lackluster were Nintendo and Ubisoft. I think those are the only two that did anything really well. In terms of Sony, I think the 60 minutes was way too short.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of lost at where their thought process was for this whole entire thing. And I guess it kind of harkens back to last year, right? Because I do think last year's conference impacted them heavily this year, where most of the key marquee titles that they showed this year were all displayed last year as well. So
the remix
that was the main issue for me, where it's like, why did you announce those games last year then if you weren't ready to bring them onto stage this year with release dates? that I think that's more so the biggest issue. It's not that, I mean, it was great to see God of War. It was great to see Days Gone. It was great to see Spider-Man. It was great to see Detroit.
Facts.
But those are all games that they showed last year. They unveiled last year, which was great.
Facts.
But then you would think they would come out this year and say, okay, you want more extended gameplay? Here's the extended gameplay. And then this is when you're getting it.
Hashtag facts.
Not a rumored date or an allegation of a date. Getting it on this date next year. Like, even if it was releasing next year, give us a date.
Right.
It's just very weird to me. So then my thought process is, why did they choose to go that route last year when, you know, you're talking about the lineup from earlier this year? They could have shown Neo. They could have shown Persona on that stage last year.
This year they could have showed Hellblade. Just saying.
Right. They could have showed Hellblade. Well, and that gets me to point 2, where they had that whole half-hour pre-show beforehand, and I don't understand what the purpose of that was. Because I feel like all of those announcements, those were all fairly new announcements, like getting Undertale, getting Super Hot VR. Like, that's huge for a VR game.
Yeah.
Like, getting Super Hot, that's insane. And the fact that they relegated that for a pre-show, like, that people are not even tuning into, like, it's...
Yeah, when they were doing that, it made me. Yeah, when they were doing that, it made me think that, you know, they were getting the light work out the way. You know what I'm saying? And that, you know, the conference was going to be dropping, you know, megatons, or at least, you know, 1 megaton at least.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, right, and that's what I think they thought they were doing, and that's where, like, I was talking about a few weeks ago, where they're slowly showing hints of PlayStation 3 Sony, and that's a bad thing. Like. It's not good.
Yeah, we don't want that. PlayStation 3 Sony was utter trash.
Fallen into the abyss yet, but I do think some of the decisions, like especially that pre-show, I think the pre-show bothered me mainly because like there was no actual point to it. Those were all things that could have been. You could have wrapped that up into that 60-minute and extended that 60-minute presentation to an hour and a half.
Facts.
Called it a day, right? It is, and I will say the biggest thing for me for why it was lackluster was that there was this is kind of the same thing that happened with Microsoft on the first party front. No new game that they threw out there and was like, right? Microsoft had it, but that's also multi-plat. So at the end of it, it's the same thing like when Sony showed Monster Hunter World. Like, that's great, but where was the one new fresh IP? And that gets you sit there and think, what's doing? What is Media Molecule doing? Like, we haven't heard about Dreams from Media Molecule since like 2014.
Right. Yeah.
It was the last time they showed anything for it.
Which to be fair, nobody wants to hear anything else about that anyway.
I mean, I guess, but it's still like, where is it? And same thing, where is Sucker Punch? What are they doing? They haven't done anything since second. Well, they haven't done anything since First Light.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
yep,
where are they?
I was expecting them to be there as well. There was a couple of letdowns. I'll save mine for the end though. I'll save mine for the end, man. Let everybody get their thoughts out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's where you at, Kev, with it. So
yeah, I mean, I will say there were some good highlights, I think, and there were also things that I wish they had actually mentioned during their press conference that were revealed later on during E3. Don't know why. But like Shadow of the Colossus, that's really cool that they're giving it the Crash Bandicoot treatment and building it from the ground up.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
And that's while it's a very niche game, it's still got a strong cult following.
Yeah.
all of those who waited for The Last Guardian, there's a reason why, and Shadow of the Colossus is that reason.
Yeah, that game is actually the remake is gonna be better than The Last Guardian. It's probably gonna be running at higher frames and everything than The Last Guardian. So
right,
yeah,
and yeah, so I think that's great that they're doing that. I don't know if any of you played or know of the .hack games. Apparently, they're redoing the .hack GU series 1 through 3. That's great. I don't know why that was underage. That could have been a good a Japanese presence there. But yeah, I do think getting things like Super Hot, that would be a game that would make me buy a PlayStation VR for Super Hot VR. I've heard so many things about the game. So that and Undertale, I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's unfortunate there weren't any like crazy heavy hitters, and that the stuff that they showed us, we already saw, except for Spider-Man, we've seen running gameplay of all of those games before.
Yep.
So
yep, I agree. I agree.
Thanks for sharing, but we could have just waited for you to release it. I am glad they didn't throw Death Stranding out there, but
yeah, they could have just released that gameplay on YouTube later or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But yep. So that's me.
What do you thought about the conference, Chris? Your honest opinion, sir.
Well, first of all, I've just got to say that there's a couple of games that I really like the look of from other conferences. I'm going to go with that. I love the look of The Last Night.
Yeah.
I know, Nick, you'll be all over that as an indie boy.
Facts.
That game looks really good. And then the 2-player Prison Break game, which names escapes me right now. That
yeah, I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, that was on EA stage, right?
Yeah, that's it. I'll find the name in a second.
A Way Out, I think.
Yeah, that's
like
something like that. Yeah, that looks really interesting as well. But for me, Sony's E3, they spunked their load last year. They should have held at least something back for this year. I think the gameplay was really interesting to see, but I don't know if it was quite E3 caliber. You look at last year, and it doesn't even hold to it at all. For me, I think they should have maybe dropped. Get a load of this, Nick. I think they should have dropped some of the VR titles that they showed.
Oh, really? I thought you would be like all over that.
Okay, they should have shown Skyrim. They should have shown Super Hot, and they should have shown Doom VR. I think they could have got away with those 3. I think people would have probably hit the roof with those 3.
Confirming that those will be on PSVR.
Yeah. So they announced those 3 games. I mean, as Kev was saying, Super Hot has got such a kind of cult following.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a game that I was thinking, that's got to be out for PSVR. It's got to be soon. And then I think that they should have dropped probably some of the other games. Maybe showed one of the other ones. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the SWAT one that they had, and stuck some indies in there. And I think for me that would have been a better show. It would have been a bit more diverse, really, with the different types of games. Like I said, I enjoyed watching the gameplays, but I didn't feel like it had that wow factor. Like I went into Microsoft's almost like you didn't really know what was going to happen. And you came out and you're like, wow, there's a couple of those things I really, really like, other than the guy who kept saying exclusives, who I had nightmares about. Exclusive. Yeah. I was like, man, I'm having nightmares of that guy.
Xbox Windows 10 exclusive.
Like that. I was like,
exclusive.
Oh man, I tell you, you were there, so you probably had nightmares as well.
Yeah, no, it was loud. It was loud and it echoed. Like they let you know, for sure what's exclusive or not. You knew walking away from that conference everything that was exclusive or not. Yes,
I'm pretty sure the whole volume of the show was on 10, and then the guy saying exclusive was on at least about 20.
Oh yeah,
double the volume.
You're not lying.
The
The treble was extra high for that guy, man.
Yeah, definitely. That guy had some bass. But back to Sony, yeah, I think they spunked their load last year with the games. It'd be nice to have seen a couple of like real kind of wow games, and Kev touched on the different studios that, you know, what are they up to? That'd have been quite good to see. Even just like if they just did a Metroid banner up there of a game announcement, you know, didn't even have to show anything. I think that would have just been good just to kind of get the hype levels up. It felt a little bit flat in places. But yeah, E3 I thought was quite a weird one this year. I don't know how it was for you on the floor, Nick. I know you watched some of the press conferences from different places. But it felt, I don't know, there were a couple in, say, like Ubisoft and Bethesda and so on, where they had some good announcements, even in EA as well. Besides that poor guy who had to do the Need for Speed announcement. Did you guys see that?
That was embarrassing, man. Yeah, that was cringeworthy.
Man, his teleprompter just that wasn't
even. Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't even his fault. He's trying to work the teleprompter and it was not cooperating.
Yeah,
that sucks. I hate seeing stuff like that. That makes me like nervous. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I felt for him big time. But yeah, no, I don't know. It didn't feel. I think because the Sony conference wasn't as razzmatazz as the previous year, I felt it was a little bit.
The Bethesda conference was boring as hell. The cool thing about it was that the Bethesda party, like when you're there and stuff, we went to the Bethesda party before the conference, and they had a party after the conference. All of that was amazing, man. It was the carnival theme. It was the Bethesda land, they called it. They had a Ferris wheel. They had cotton candy, candy apples. They were just handing them out free. They had free like drinks. You know, you could stop and get free drinks everywhere. That was an amazing party. So that party made the conference like bearable. Like once that party, the opening party was over, it was time for the conference. We were ushered into this space to watch the conference on this big screen. And the conference itself, to me, was boring because I don't really like any of those games. Like Bethesda really invest in their games, you know what I'm saying, obviously. And they invest in the fans who support those games. So they're always talking about really the same games. And I don't like really any of them. So I was bored. But the party was great. Shout out to Bethesda.
Did you go to the Wolfenstein Cafe?
I did. I went to the Wolfenstein
Dino. Was it Dino?
It was a diner. It was a diner. Yeah. I didn't go in because I was trying to do some other things that we cannot disclose here on Trophy Life. We can't disclose what I was trying to do out there at the Bethesda party at night. You know what I'm saying? I was just living that nightlife, so I wasn't trying to sit down and
trying to get naked. That's what you were doing, wasn't it?
Let's just say I wasn't trying to sit down and play no video game. Then I had 2 drinks in my hand, bro. I was just trying to get drinks in my hand. I wasn't trying to get
parked.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get I was not trying to get no controller in my hand at that point.
You didn't see his fresh dance moves.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
tweeted some.
Yeah, that was a whole different party altogether. That was at the Chinese theater, man. That was another crazy night. But yeah, I mean, LA was dope, man. It was expensive as hell, but it was fun, man. It was fun. So real quick, as far as the Sony conference goes, I'm gonna let everybody know and clear up some things of my feelings about the Sony conference. So basically, I'm gonna put it to you like this. Had the Microsoft conference, you know what I'm saying? You know, the inner circle, the guys I'm with and everything like that, we're hanging with, went to E3 with. Obviously, they're big Xbox guys, right? And so they had their day, you know what I'm saying? The Xbox conference, you know, a lot of them, honestly, they were disappointed in it. They felt like it wasn't what it needed to be. A lot of guys had to sit there and really contemplate, watch it again, think about it. Some guys on the team, they liked it. You know what I'm saying? They loved it. They thought it was amazing and stuff. I thought it was great as well. And so the next day, that whole day, I did not mention Sony. I did not mention PlayStation out of respect. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft had their day. As soon as the sun rose the next day, I let everybody know. I called everybody in the room like we're about to have a meeting. I'm saying, hey, come here. I need to talk to you guys. I was like, okay, I got my PlayStation shirt on today, gentlemen. Today is Sony Day. I don't want to hear a damn thing about Microsoft, Xbox, nothing like that. Sony Now, I said Microsoft had a great conference. They had a great conference. It was great. But Sony is about to destroy everything you have seen, gentlemen. I was like, Sony is about to show off and show out. It is over. Okay, so today is Sony Day. Prepare to be amazed. The whole day, I was hyping up Sony just like that to these guys. You know what I'm saying? They were rolling their eyes and like, oh, Nick, your fanboy's coming out, da, 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 da. I was like, hey, I was cool the day before. Today is my day. Okay, so I have my PlayStation shirt on, ready to go. We watched the conference. We checking out the conference, man. And I'm like, okay. So they start off with Lost Legacy, some damn DLC, right? Here was my problem with the beginning of this conference. They started off with DLC. They start off with Lost Legacy DLC. They start off with showing Horizon DLC. I don't understand the reason why we're showing Lost Legacy yet again. We've seen enough of Lost Legacy. Why are we showing this at a big show at E3? You know what I'm saying? I felt like that was like, I mean, I like the gameplay. I like the way it looks and stuff. But I'm like, there's no need for this to be on stage at this point, Sony. Yep. Then they show Horizon DLC. DLC again? Really? We're showcasing DLC at E3? What part of the game is that, fam? So I was disappointed in that as well. They got into the Days Gone gameplay. That's when I got hyped up again. I'm like, oh man, yo, yeah, I want to see extensive gameplay of Days Gone. Yo, this is amazing. I was hyped. I was like, okay. I was looking at my partners and stuff. I was like, okay, see guys, we about to this is when they're about to start dropping them bombs. You know what I'm saying? So I was hyped. I was like, okay, here we go. The roller coaster. Hang on to your seats, guys. What does Sony do next? What did they do next?
PSVR.
Nope. Yeah. They didn't get they didn't get the PSVR just yet. I don't think. I think they showed Monster Hunter World, which was okay. It was okay at best. Yeah. Then I think somewhere in between there they got into PSVR. Spent way too much time on PSVR. Way too much damn time on PSVR. I'm sitting there like I'm just looking. I'm like, okay, it's got to get better, right? Nope, it doesn't get better. What did they show? Marvel versus Capcom. Why are we showing Marvel versus Capcom at the Sony E3 conference? Marvel versus Capcom is it's an okay game. Okay, I get people are interested in it, but what is the point of that? Like that makes no sense to me. Like it wasn't exciting at all. It just wasn't. Okay, it's another freaking fighting game. Keep that shit in the closet. Okay. Next, what did they show? They showed Shadow of Colossus. That was cool. That was a big announcement. I think that was cool. Then of course we go into World at War. Yeah, Call of Duty. Then what's next? They showed the God of War extensive gameplay. God of War, that was cool. I like seeing the extensive gameplay of God of War. I was disappointed that the release date was not this year. I was banking on that. I made bets. I was prophesizing. I was calling myself Negro. Yeah, I was prophesizing on that. I was calling myself Negrodamus. I could have swore it was coming out this year, but they let me down on that. But the gameplay looked amazing. Detroit was meh. Destiny, nah. And then they ended with Spider-Man, which was actually pretty cool. It just the conference, man, it was lackluster. And here's the biggest thing. Here is the biggest problem I had with Sony's conference. They did not show or showcase any indie games besides the PSVR games that couldn't be considered indie because they're independent studios, a lot of them. But they didn't show any good quality indie games. Microsoft had me looking at the screen, couldn't take my eyes off the screen for a good few minutes. Sony had me rolling my eyes for a good few minutes throughout this whole conference. I was disappointed. Overall, I was disappointed. They really dropped the ball in a lot of areas. They showed some things they shouldn't have shown. I felt like they just got real lazy with it. I do agree with Kev. I'm starting to see some of that PS3 lazy arrogance and stuff. It feels like they didn't go hard with this conference as they should. I was not, listen to me, everybody. I was not expecting them to drop bombs after bombs after bomb. That's not my thing. I was expecting them to, yes, show us some gameplay of Days Gone, some extensive gameplay of that. Needed that. God of War, yes. Spider-Man, yes. All amazing. Leave out that DLC crap. And a lot of these other games that they show, like Marvel vs. Capcom, no reason to show that. They could have put in place of that some nice quality indie games. You know what I'm saying? And they could have, like you were saying, Kev, show up like Undertale. I mean, they could have announced that. There's a bunch of indie games like they could have announced and showed, but they didn't. And it wasn't a lot of variety either. It just wasn't a lot of variety. In comparison to Microsoft conference, they were showing just so many different types of games. Sony's conference, it was pretty standard. It was their games we already know about and their third-party deals, pretty much, and some surprises sprinkled here and there that weren't even big surprises. I mean, I wouldn't even call these things Christmas gifts. They were more like secondhand birthday gifts. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me. I was disappointed with it. And I think they could have did better. I think they had the opportunity to do better, but they failed. They failed at it. So Sony, you have failed this city.
Nick, you looked honestly, Nick, I tuned in for the post-show podcast that you were doing, and you looked so deflated. You were sat on the edge of the group, and you could see like your whole body, and your arms are like really heavy, and your head was hanging, and there was no crown. It was like a hat, and then there were moments you sat on the desk, and you put both elbows on the desk, and you were like rubbing your face and stuff like that. But you looked absolutely just gutted. I could tell that you were probably like giving it some beans throughout the day and just telling everybody that homing up. I don't know about you, Kev, but where did you end up watching it in the theater?
I did, and that was quite an experience.
How was the sound?
Oh, so that was also pretty bad in the beginning. Maybe for like the first 15 minutes, it was going like in and out. Like it was like messed up the inputs in whatever the sound system they were using, because when the band started playing in the beginning for the Uncharted reveal, gameplay stuff, you could hear that, but once they switched over to the actual video footage, you couldn't hear anything. You could hear like the stage, what was happening on the actual stage.
Yeah,
but you couldn't hear the actual feed.
So
directly.
I reckon it kicked in about halfway through Days Gone for me, and it took a massive shine off it for me. And I felt that band at the start of the conference as well. You're like, okay, I get it, but this has gone on a bit too long, sort of thing like that, without seeing anything. But the sound not being in, I had to put my TV up to almost to 100 to get any sense of sound, and it took all the steam. Obviously I was excited for Horizon DLC, and it took all the steam off it. It was like it's only a little thing, but when you're like, oh, and then like the rest of the conference, it could have done amazing things, but I would have personally been a bit deflated with it because I didn't hear that first part, didn't hear anything of the Uncharted game, and like I said, you didn't hear any of like the exposition at the start of the Days Gone or anything like that. So you're a bit like going into it. I was like, I felt how Nick looked. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, man.
That was similar atmosphere to the movie theater. I mean, granted, what ended up happening was when the audio cut out, then people in the theater started making their own commentary to fill in the gaps, which is pretty funny. But outside of that, I mean, I do think it kind of deflated the experience for a lot of the people there. And honestly, I think that pre-show also deflated a lot of that. Like that pre-show was way too long, A, and B, it was like, I don't want to look at Sid's face talking right now. Like the amount of weird expressions that man made as they were like going in and out of footage, it was like, okay, you guys aren't good at this right now. Like, get off the stage. It's fine. Like, I'm not saying I'd do any better, but you're being paid for this, not me.
Yeah, right.
And, like, you're not doing a good job, and you're deflating the experience for people here.
It felt a little bit like they'd forgotten E3 was happening, and like the week before they thought, oh crap, we better do something for E3, and they just kind of put a load of gameplay trailers together. It felt a little bit like that, like they hadn't really planned it that well. Because I think they would have. I think like some of the choices of games that they didn't show, I thought was really surprising. Like, so I love my racing game, so I was looking forward to seeing just like a little bit, at least a clip of GT Sport.
Oh yeah, they could have did that. That's another game that they could have
they
did
didn't show any of that.
instead of Marvel versus Capcom. They could have did that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, gut that pre-show and include that into the actual conference. I can guarantee you, it would have at least done better.
Let's name the games that they could have shown instead of Marvel vs. Capcom. So they could have showed GT Sport. They could have showed Knack 2. They could have showed they could have shown Undertale. They could have showed Super Hot. Yep. What other games could they have shown besides Marvel vs. Capcom? They could have even like had Sucker Punch come out there and talk about their new game or something. That would have been dope. Give us an idea of what the concepts are and everything like that.
They could have tried to get Kingdom Hearts. They dropped that trailer the day before Sony's conference,
yeah, they could have shown some Kingdom Hearts brand new gameplay. You know what I'm saying? They could have made a freaking effort to get Rockstar, you know what I'm saying, out there. They could have made some type of effort. There's a lot of things they could have did besides show that damn Marvel vs. Capcom and DLC. You know what I'm saying? A lot of different things they could have done. You know, showcase more indie games. They could have did that. Speaking of which, before we get too late in the show, I do want to address Jim Ryan. He's been saying a lot of outlandish things lately. And basically, there's an article from gamesindustry.biz. Shout out to them. They did an interview with Jim Ryan, and one of the things that they did ask him about was the lack of indie games that is shown at this year's E3 and last year's E3. So he was asking, the interviewer was asking, why aren't they showing them anymore? And basically, Jim said this. He's like, one of the things we have realized is that these video collages of 10 indie games shown in a minute is almost meaningless. Nobody can really learn anything about the games in that short of time. It is almost viewed as wasted time. Okay, so this statement right here, his answer to that question real quick. I'm going to break this down. I semi disagree and I semi do agree. I can see his perspective of saying like showing a collage of indie games you don't know what it's about, but I don't necessarily think it's meaningless because Microsoft did it at their conference and they showed the collage of indie games and you saw some things that piqued your interest. You're like, oh my gosh, what's that? Oh my goodness, at least I was like, oh my goodness, what's that? Oh, what is that?
Well, like the last night, I mean, that seemed to pick a lot of interest. I mean, a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely. Just let's talk about the last night. So yeah, that game is the characters pixelated, but everything else in the world is vibrant, beautiful, neon colors. The water looks absolutely like beautiful, amazing. It's futuristic world. It's like you get a little taste of that and you're like, oh my gosh, I need more. I need to see more of this. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that Microsoft had at their conference that Sony didn't, and it's an indie game. You know what I'm saying? And Sony is supposed to be, you know, the king of indies. It's supposed to be Indie Station, right? But you know, apparently that's not important anymore. So I think the collage of showing indies is like meaningful, especially if you slow it down a bit and say, hey, this game right here, let's talk about this a little bit. You know what I'm saying? This game right here, let's just talk about this a little, showcase this a little more. You know, it's like you can do so much to showcase indies to where it's meaningful and it interests people. I mean, just look at Microsoft conference. I mean, they did it, you know, and Sony has done it in the past. Sony's done the same thing in the past, dude. So
they should
the only thing I would say to that, to kind of play devil's advocate, is if you're taking his statement at literal face value, then I do think he's right. I think he's right if you're talking about literally only showing a sizzler reel of indie games. I do think that's pointless. I don't think that's helpful for the indie game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that part of it. If you only do that.
Yes, but to that token, like you're mentioning Microsoft, the reason that sizzler reel was effective was because they then, what did they spend the time doing before and after that?
Yes, they sandwiched that thing. Yes.
It was showing some of those games that would end up in that sizzler reel.
Yes.
So you're looking out for those, and in the middle, then you're like, oh, well, they just told me about that one, but what about the one next to it or the one before it?
Yes.
So it's how it's implemented. So yes, at face value, what he's saying is accurate. I do think it's pointless. Sizzler reel, which is ultimately what I think they would have done if they wanted to include indie games, was like in between God of War and like Spider-Man or whatever, like they would have thrown a sizzler reel and nobody would have cared.
They could have what they could have did similar to Microsoft did, and what they've done in the past is the problem is they spent too much time on that VR stuff. So like they cut that VR stuff down significantly, right? Cut it down significantly, and then just pay homage to these great indie games. You know what I'm saying? Like do what you have always done. There's really no excuse. Right. There's no excuse for it because just like people, they're like, oh, well, we're not into indie games. Well, there's a lot of us that aren't into VR. And I understand VR, it has to be like the moneymaker. You're investing in this hardware. I get it. And I'm not saying don't show it at E3, but it wasn't effective. Like it didn't make a lot of us who aren't into VR interested in that. You captivated the hearts and the imaginations of those who are already like have VR, but the rest of us were like, get this bullshit off the stage. We don't care. You know what I'm saying? You're not selling. No, you're not selling that to us like that.
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Like I fundamentally agree with it, and that's why I'm saying like the way that Microsoft presented that their indie games and their sizzler reel is the most effective way. And like you said, PlayStation's done it in the past, so there's no reason to not do it again. Even if they change the format up and they're like, you know, like what they did a few years ago with Octodad, where they had like 2 or 3 indie devs on the stage showing off their game.
Yeah.
And then
that was
all right, we're done with the indies and we're continuing. Like they could have done that.
That was dope.
But they allocated that time to VR because you know, from what they're saying, what 1 in every 5 PlayStation owners has a VR unit or has used a VR unit or something like that. I don't remember
it must be used a VR unit. There's no way 1 in 5 have a VR unit.
Yeah.
As trying it out. As a VR owner, I didn't want to see all those games that they had.
Oh, damn.
Because ultimately, there are a lot of small experience titles on the VR at the moment. What I want to see is more things like the Skyrim. I want to see Super Hot. Mm-hmm. I want to see like Doom VR. I want to see big hitters coming to VR. So as I said before, I'd be quite happy for them to show just those 3 and then do a bit of an indie sizzle reel or just show a couple of like, you know, gameplay for a couple of good indie games coming out right now. But indie games is about word of mouth. So I don't know whether they're going to try and kind of push them at something like PSX or something like that, or they felt that they needed the big guns for E3, and then like the smaller games will go to the smaller conferences, and they'll push them out that way.
But those guns that they show weren't big, Chris.
No,
I can understand that. I can understand that, but they show DLC. They show Marvel versus Capcom. Those aren't big guns. I mean,
I agree with that too. I mean, that time that they put, first of all, at a very fundamental level, at an E3 conference, you should never be showing DLC.
No,
like the only time where that I feel like that's acceptable is, well, 1 of 2 instances. If you're a Bethesda, right, and you've got a very core selection of games that you're offering.
And you got that
pump those games out every single year. So you're
going
to show DLC.
That's their fan base. You know, I mean, at the Bethesda thing, we were outside and stuff. People were clapping for that stuff. Like there's a fan base for that. Like they were excited when they saw Link in Skyrim and stuff like that. So you know, you have a fan base for that. So I get that.
So that's one instance, and then the other one is like in Uncharted, the Uncharted DLC, because that's not just like here's an extra 5 hours of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're selling that thing at what? Isn't it $40? Like,
yeah, it's $40.
It's its own separate game.
Yeah, it's a standalone.
So to that, I'll say, all right, fine, go ahead and show it. But yeah, DLC
that's the thing. But here's the thing, though, Brad. It's like, no, you don't show that because it's a standalone, yes, but it's only gonna be 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? You keep showing this damn game at these conferences and stuff. You're gonna show the whole game, okay? Give it a rest. We know about it. We've heard about it. You know, just release YouTube videos. Like, there's no reason to continue to show the thing at this point.
Well, that's the thing. You know? I don't think it's going to be just 8 hours. I think it's going to be a substantive amount of hours. If you're selling it at $40, if you're paying $40 for an 8-hour game, like Naughty Dog will hear about it. Like, that's not something we're going to take lightly. The fact that they're spending $40 for 8 hours.
I'll give it 10 to 15 hours at the most. I'll give it 10 to 15 hours at the most. It's not going to be like, so we already said it ain't going to be definitely no 40-hour campaign. It probably not even going to be 20 hours. It definitely not going to be 20 hours. It's probably like 10 to 15.
I would hope it was between 12 to 18 hours.
I don't think it has any multiplayer either. I think it's just
no, I don't think it has multiplaer. No.
Mm-hmm. So
I would rather it be 8 quality hours over 15 instead of 15 dragged out hours. Personally, that's just my.
Well, my hope is that it's 15 quality hours. Like that. That's
they probably if they because some games they drag it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This is Naughty Dog we're talking about here, so it is going to be a definitely quality game, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But we've heard enough about it. We don't need to see it again, Naughty Dog. Just keep that crap off the stage. Keep it off every stage.
And again, I agree with you on that. I'm just saying, like, games like that where it is a standalone, I can understand why somebody would on the stage. I do think we've seen Uncharted way too much in the last year and a half. So
let's get back to Jim Ryan real quick. Let's finish this statement he made regarding. So for those of you just joining and stuff like that, gamesindustry.biz asked Jim Ryan, there was no indie presence at E3 this time for PlayStation. So why aren't we seeing them anymore? And so he says this: there was a time and a place in the early stages of the life of PS4 to make statements regarding indies, I guess. It was more about making a statement that we are serious about the indies and that we are doing this and that with the indies. No Man's Sky, I can't believe this man mentioned No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, and so on and so forth. This shows how out of touch he is with reality. There's so many indies you could have mentioned. You could have mentioned Transistor. You know what I'm saying? That was first to PS4. You could have mentioned Dust and Elysian. Yeah, Dust and Elysian Tale for God's sakes. You could have mentioned that. You know what I'm saying? You could have mentioned some really great indies. Super Meat Boy. Mention Super Meat Boy. I mean, you could have mentioned some really great indies, but no, this man mentions No Man's Sky. Anyway, No Man's Sky and so on and so forth, which broke out from that and carved its own niche. Right now, we have tons of indie content on the platform. And the fact that we elected, along with many other things such as Gran Turismo and PlayLink, not to give it its own spot on the stage this week, in no way means that it is not important, or that it's not there, or that we don't worry about it. It was just good to talk about it in 2013 and 2014. It is less relevant now. This is where he got in trouble. It is less relevant now. We have PSVR to talk about now, for example. This is where he gets in trouble with me right here. Okay, so what he's saying, this is my interpretation of what he's saying. He is saying that they are important. The fact that they weren't on stage and being showcased anymore doesn't mean they're not important. But that was good for the past. Okay, they are no longer good. They are no longer good to talk about in the present, in the future. They're not relevant right now. That conversation is no longer relevant because we have moved on to bigger and better things such as PSVR, these new IPs, these AAA experiences, things like that. So we needed those indies to fill the void, fill the gap in 2013 and 14. We needed them, right? We used them. And then now that we have all this other stuff, there's no need. They're not relevant to talk about anymore. That's my interpretation of the end conversation there. He was doing okay. He was doing okay until he got to the end there. He just totally pissed me off. Because I'm gonna say this. I'm not the king of indies just to be saying that shit. Okay, I'm not the king of indies just to be saying that. Indie lives matter. Damn it. No, I'm playing. But no, the indie industry in itself deserves respect. It deserves attention. What like when you have an amazing indie like gem, an amazing indie game and stuff, it requires these big publishers and stuff such as Sony, like they depend on them to showcase their game. You know what I'm saying? Having that presence at E3, it means something not only to the indie community, but to gamers in general, because a lot of the indie games, they give you the quality, different experiences that a lot of gamers want, and they're scared to admit that they want. You know what I'm saying? I can't stress this enough, how important it is to really get into a lot of these indie games. And it's so important for big publishers like Sony and Microsoft to put them at the forefront. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that PlayStation is no longer really doing that at these big conferences and stuff is disappointing. Somebody was saying something like, E3 should be reserved for AAA games and indie games should be reserved for the smaller conferences and things like that. Why? When a lot of the indie games are better than these AAA games? You know what I'm saying? Why? We're basing things off of, we're no longer basing things off of quality. We're basing things off of a persona. Now, that doesn't make any sense to me. No, indie games deserve to have the showcase in the spotlight at E3, just like any other game. A game is a game. A good game is a game. It doesn't matter if it's indie or AAA or AA to me. You know what I'm saying? So what he's saying there, I totally disagree with. I do not like how he ended that statement. And, now a lot of people are saying, Sony has turned it back on indies. Sony hates indies. I don't think that. You know what I'm saying? Jim Ryan has just been saying some crazy stuff lately, and he needs to really back out of the public eye for a good little while now.
When we next see Jim Ryan in a public event, somebody check how many fingers he's got left. Because in the Yakuza, they chop off people's fingers for talking too much. So I'm just, just check how many fingers he's got. Whether Sony going to start chopping fingers off. They should do, because as The Rock would say, he needs to know his role and shut his mouth.
Facts.
So come on, Jim, sort it out.
But what do y'all think? Because we're not gonna go too deep into the article because we're almost done. But I definitely want to get you guys' thoughts on what he is saying here. Anything else you want to highlight in the article as well?
I'm not going to delve too much into the article just because of time constraint, but in regards to his statements, he's just been saying some pretty dumb stuff lately. I think we should remember that this isn't necessarily Sony themselves speaking. This is not an official statement from Sony. This is him extrapolating something from what he thinks. I just want to be cautious that we're not specifically saying this is what Sony said.
Yeah.
Necessarily say that, but what I will note is I find it surprising that they haven't come out and said anything else to the contrary.
They need to.
They haven't clarified anything, so I think that's a really bad look on them.
They're too busy sharpening the meat cleaver to chop his fingers off.
Yakuza style.
Yakuza.
They need to put a muzzle on him so he doesn't talk anymore.
Like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs a good coaching. He definitely needs a good coaching of how to speak in front of the public eye. He does.
Yeah. And then lastly, I agree with you. I think indies are important, and it is a shame that they didn't showcase any on the stage, really. The only thing I can think of that they mentioned in the pre-show was Undertale. But even at that,
sad.
I was just thinking about it, and there's, Lawbreakers is technically an indie game. From Bosky.
Why wasn't that on stage? Why?
That's what I'm saying.
What happened? Yeah, you're right.
And then you mentioned Transistor, but Supergiant Games has Pyre coming out.
Yes, they do.
Why wasn't that shown at all?
That's huge. Yeah, you're right.
It's
facts.
Things like that where
facts, man.
What's going on, guys?
Bad decision making of what the show at that conference, man. Bad decision making.
This was a rough E3 for them, and it's even more so apparent because of how well they did last year.
Yeah.
So they've got some ground to cover in that regard. I think, again, they're still in a good place. I don't think anything is really going to shake them off their mountaintop right now.
Nah.
Whether that's a good or a bad thing,
that remains to be seen. Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see some more at PSX. That's the upside for them. While they had a bad E3, they can always make that up in the next 6 months between Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show, and PSX.
Yeah, PSX is usually good for me. They really do show a great variety of things at PSX. So yeah, that should be dope.
It's very interesting because while it wasn't the most spectacular show, I'm still looking forward to playing some of those games that they showed. So,
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So
no doubt.
I think it's just it needed that kind of surprise element, that oomph to it. Like I said before, I think they used up all their ammunition last year.
Yeah,
and they should have maybe held some of it back, and they could have announced like Days Gone this year with a bit more gameplay, and then maybe the Gods of War game as well.
Yeah, especially since all that ain't coming out till 2018.
Yeah.
So they could have did that, but I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if they dropped those two games, I think it would have been a very different conference. We'd have been talking about it very differently. And like we've all said, cut some of the VR, put some indies in there, and it could have been a very, very different show.
Yep. It wouldn't take much to make it different. Just some bad decisions, I think.
Facts.
So I think we're gonna go ahead and bounce like a 40 ounce right quick. I think we have exhausted everything we need to say and stuff. So let's go ahead and get on out of here. Let's go ahead and do our outros. Tell everybody where they can find you guys. Let's go with my man, the British Beef.
Thanks, guys, for the very interesting chat again. I've missed you both. I've missed everyone in the chat as well. Thanks for everyone for coming and hang out. You can catch me on Twitter at Stubbsy Viking, or my PSN is Stubbsy the Viking. There'll be links in the description, and I'm sure Kev will be pinging out plenty of Twitter handles. So yeah, thanks again, guys.
For sure. Kev, say good night, good sir.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out and engaging in some discussion. Again, I hope it didn't seem overly negative. Some constructive criticism that hopefully
with our pitchforks
folks can take. Yeah, don't take out pitchforks just yet. Wait till PSX for that. And you can follow me at Dark Tagger, and you can follow Trophy Life at Trophy Life _pod.
Trophy Life _pod. All right. That's what's up. Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining. We really appreciate everybody out there who supports us, supports the Inner Circle, supports, Double XP, Multiverse, all these great shows that we have for you guys. Hopefully we'll bring you more variety than Sony did at this year's E3. And yeah, man, we doing big things out here. Overall, E3 was a great experience. Love the developers I was able to meet. Love the people I was able to meet. You know what I'm saying? Made some connects out there, some friends and stuff like that. So definitely a great experience overall. And yeah, you can catch me at Nicodemus _X on Twitter. So just check me out at Nicodemus. Go ahead and hit that follow button. And then also make sure you follow Trophy Life, as my man Kev stated. And subscribe to this channel right here to get all of your Xbox related news, your comic geek entertainment news and opinions, and PlayStation here with Trophy Life. You know what I'm saying? You make sure you subscribe to this channel. And man, check us out. Keep us in your thoughts and prayers, because we are crazy. But yo, we are facts. Yo, we are out of here, man. Appreciate you guys always, supporting us, all that good stuff. Let's go to bed, gentlemen. Separately. We're out of here. Peace.
Fact.